Good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock and it's Friday. So it is time for Flashcard Friday. And I figured we'd kind of go off of last week a little bit. Last week we talked about wisdom, and today we're going to talk about putting that wisdom into use into a category that, if you're like me at all, you struggle with, especially during seasons like this. Um, and that would be the uh, the gift of wisdom when it comes to listening, and more importantly, listening well. I think most of you know that I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. So with all of the political, hubbub going on right now, I have a tendency to tune things out. When people start talking politically, I just kind of, it's like this glaze comes over my eyes, and I just kind of stop listening. And what I found, though, is that will actually trickle into my everyday life. So I will be having a conversation with a friend, and I'll find myself kind of tuning out and not actually hearing what they're saying. It'll trickle home, and my husband will be talking about something, and like all of a sudden I'm thinking about, like what I'm cooking for breakfast, tomorrow morning. Um, and it's really, there are times, when it can actually lead to some strife, or some turmoil. And I've had to cling to this, even though I fail. I failed. I actually failed at this today, which I find kind of funny that God has me talking about this particular thing today. But we're going to talk about James 1:19, or 1 verses 19 through 20. And as soon as I start reading it, you guys are going to automatically know, what we're talking about. But here's the thing: there is a difference between knowing and obeying. Like most people can quote this, or they can at least paraphrase it. But the question is, are we really doing what it says? Okay, so let's take a look at this. Again, it's James 1, verses 19 through 20. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Now, most of you probably tuned out the second I hit the word listen. That's usually when I tune out, because then my brain just goes, yeah, slow to speak, slow to become angry, da 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 da. Okay? But let's actually take a look at this really quick. The first thing that you want to see is take note of this. When James says take note of this, he's saying pay attention, because what he's about to say will be a lifesaver. What he's about to say is very important. Um, I want to say the words "take note of this" is found in the Bible 7 times. And most times it's used to denote something that is potentially bad. And again, while this one is, James's point is going to be about listening, but take note of this is very important. You know, th- when he says that, he's saying this is important. Pay attention. Don't tune out. Don't stop. Don't quit. Pay attention to what he's about to say. And the next word is that word everyone. It doesn't say some people. It doesn't say the people you agree with. Um, it doesn't say only you and your best friend. It says everyone. That means all of us. That means even when you're talking to that person that makes your blood boil, even when in this particular season, even when you're talking politics and you happen to be of one party and your friend is of another party, everyone. And then here's the word should. Should here means don't just think about it. Don't just go, oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Do it. Everyone should. It doesn't say everyone kind of, sort of, maybe, if they want to, could. it says should. And then the next word that you want to see here is the word quick. James is not one, if you read the book of Mark, you will see the word quick and rapidly. You'll see that word used a lot. In James, you don't see that word used very often. So again, this is important to him. Quick to listen. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We have that for a reason. Sometimes, I am notorious for somebody will come up and they're talking to me and they're starting to ask a question, and after they get like 3 words into it, I know what they're going to ask, so I'm preparing my answer before they finish their question. And when I do that, again, I'm not listening. I'm not being quick to listen. I'm being quick to come up with a response. And that's not what this verse says. It says be quick to listen. Be quick to open up your ears. We're going to read some of these Proverbs, but as you go through Proverbs, you'll hear the word turn your ear. So sometimes if you're having a conversation with me and you see me turn my head just a little bit, I'm turning my head because I'm actually reminding myself that I need to be quick to listen. I've actually caught myself starting to tune out, and I'm turning my ear to force myself to listen to you even quicker. And then there are 2 slows in here. Slow to speak and slow to become angry. Those are probably the 2 most important statements in there, because here's the deal. When somebody's talking to me and they're trying to state their case, for some disagreement between them and I, if I tune out because I'm plotting my response to them, I'm not listening. If you're spending all of your time in that conversation, if you're spending your time plotting and planning your point, if you're doing whatever you can to make your point, you're not listening. And usually when we do that, that's when we wind up hurting somebody. It's like I don't ever want to hurt somebody. I don't ever want to be their downfall. And this is usually, for me, this is where I stumble. This is, God had me doing this one just because He knows this one is so hard for me. But it's quick to listen, slow to speak. Slow to speak. You don't have to make your point. And here's the hardest thing. You don't have to be right. You don't have to be wrong. You don't have to be right. But you have to listen. If you're gonna use that wisdom that God is giving you, you gotta be able to listen. And there are 5 promises. When we can kind of grasp the wisdom behind listening, there are 5 promises that, again, I know I'm harping on Proverbs, and maybe I'll get maybe a few of us can like really dig into this one. Proverbs is just so good when it comes to showing us all of this stuff and showing how it unfolds. There are 5 promises found in the book of Proverbs, and just kind of a quick little side note. There are references to listening 25 times in Proverbs. The only thing that's listed more is wisdom. So, Solomon is tying wisdom and listening together. That, along with James, that should be telling us something. That should be telling us that listening is super important. But there are 5 promises of listening. And these promises involve us growing. It's like the more we do this, the more we will grow in these different things. And the first one of those would be peace. So if you take a look at Proverbs 1, verse 33, but whoever listens to me will live in safety and be at ease without fear of harm. I don't know about you, but in today's day and age, I want to be at peace. Another one is wisdom. Remember, we talked last week about Proverbs 8 and just how it's titled Wisdom's Call. And it's just, it's one of my favorites. Okay, but verse 33. Listen to my instruction and be wise. Do not disregard it. Be wise. Okay, so, again, one of those promises of wisdom. And then he's going to follow that up in verse 34, and he's going to tell you why. And it's because doing all of this will help you grow in your joy. Blessed are those who listen to me, watching daily at my door, waiting at my doorway. And Solomon is referring to waiting for God. It's like when we take the time to turn to him first, he's faithful every time. He doesn't let us down. We may not get the answer that we want, but we will always find joy in it. Another one that he gives us is understanding, and that's found in Proverbs 15:32. Again, this is a good one. Those who disregard discipline despise themselves, but the one who heeds correction gains understanding. We talked a little bit, last week about that reproof and correction, and it's hard. It's hard to realize that you're wrong. But when you start to dig into all of this, that understanding starts to come up, and you're wrong less and less and less. I know it's hard at first, but I'm telling you, understanding comes with it. And the final one, the one I want to end with, is prosperity. And that's in 16 verse 20, which again is another good one. Whoever gives heed to instruction prospers, and blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. We talked about that a little bit with regards to joy. When we turn to God first, when we listen to all of this, and even when we listen to the person that we're talking to, when we take that time to turn our ears to them and to listen, God is faithful. And he comes in and he helps us. He helps us listen, but more than anything, he helps us to learn how to respond rather than react. Because again, if it's all about making your point, what you're doing is you're reacting. And if you're anything like me, when I react, I'm usually wrong. I did that today with my husband. He was trying to talk to me, and we have an issue with one of our dogs. He's got a stomach issue, and he's trying to talk to me, but I was trying to read something. So I kept showing him this, I'm angry with you face, which made him not want to talk to me. And again, it was because I didn't want to listen. But then in the middle of it all, my lesson for tonight snapped right into my head, and God snapped me right out of it, and he said, hey, Lisa, listen. He's not trying to interrupt you. He's trying to help you. There's a problem with your dog, and you're the one who takes care of them. Listen to your husband in that situation. So a lot of times, we may think that we know what somebody's going to say. Be quick to listen. Quick to listen. Slow to speak. Slow to react. Start doing that, you learn how to respond. When you're responding, it's because you're doing what God has told you to do. And again, you're gaining wisdom. You're gaining that maturity that we're all looking for. And again, if you're like me, you're going to stumble, but that's okay. Stumble 7 times, get up 8. That's what it's all about. That's what this life is all about. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you have a phenomenal weekend, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday. We'll catch you later. Bye.